Hi guys, my name is Lerato Sibata, a procurement professional. Welcome back again to this procurement channel. So today let us debunk this myth that says, is procurement really about finding the cheapest supplier? I posted this on my Instagram stories not long ago, and surprisingly 37% of the people that responded to the poll say this is a plausible myth. 37% also say that it is busted, and 26% says it's confirmed. I don't think so, guys. Remember procurement, we prepared a tender document, scope document, source suppliers, evaluate. And after all, price is what we're looking for. After spending so much time doing a tender process, and at the end, all we have to look for is price. I doubt. Let's just debunk this myth and let's talk more. So the first thing, it depends on what is your objective, really. Are you looking for a straightforward purchase, like buying pens, milk, flowers, something that is really straightforward? When your objective is, I just want pens delivered by when, you even have a brand name, of course, then price becomes a determining factor on how you award your vendor. But two, if then your objective is, I need a fast car, I need durability, you're looking at the spares, you're looking at the maintenance plan, you're looking at after-sales service, then price doesn't only become a determining factor towards the procurement decisions. So for me is look at what is your objective from the onset, from this very same product or service that which you are procuring or purchasing. From there on, you will almost get a feel and a guide on how can I then make better decisions in my purchasing processes. Because if you then don't have a plan, then you're just going to go for price. But sometimes you do need after-sales service. You do need to consider call-out fees. You do need to consider maintenance. You do need to consider a lot of things. So then it just depends also on the objective. Secondly, I would say price on its own says a lot. Oh, Lerato, what do you mean by that? Price, guys, says a lot. If you are receiving bids from the suppliers and it's priced low and also quite high end, then you should already know whatever that is driving this cost to be so low and so high, there should be something there, right? Okay, what do I mean that price says a lot? If then you are going to be buying something and you realize that no man, the price here is too low, probably, very probably, there's probably cheap supplies there, or let's call them low cost. There's probably low cost supply, material used, the logistics cost is probably very minimal. So maybe some items or materials used in that very same product, it might just be low cost. I don't want to say defect or maybe cheap, right, in its very bad sense, but it's probably, the quality might just be compromised. Also, sometimes if it's high end, then you're probably looking for a Ferrari. Obviously, you can't be paying a price of a Toyota with a Ferrari. Also, can be paying for a Ferrari kind of requirements for something really that is not assembled the same, use the same type of material and quality. So that also tells you whenever you're receiving the bid that this one, then what you should do is inquire deeper, go into that price. Ask the right questions, find out what feeds into this price. Sometimes suppliers do play open book costing, and I would encourage that you do that. So for me, it's important that whenever I look at a price, it tells me a lot about that which I'm buying. And this brings me to number 3, that just because the price is low does not mean it's defect or inferior products. Let's just get that clear. Low price does not always mean defect or inferior product. And most people, I think, they get confused with the fact that, I'm used to be buying expensive items. If it's not expensive, then it might just be, inferior. It might just be too cheap. Why is it too cheap? Listen, the cost of managing a service or a product depends on how they negotiate their suppliers and the value chain and also materials used. Sometimes, you find organizations that probably have a shared services hub in a low-cost country, where they're cutting costs so that they can be able to price their product in a particular range. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the materials used there, it's low cost, but they have a way of knowing where to cut costs. So at the end of the day, if you have defined your requirements correctly and your technical team is able to determine that this specification that I've sent out, actually this product does meet the specification, then, of course, then price is not necessarily a factor, right? And the fourth point is there's also a budget dependency, guys. Budget dependency, what do I mean by this? This is quite common in your marketing events type of services. So have you ever had these people that say, how much budget do you have before we can quote? I don't like disclosing budget, but you find people who say, how much do you have? Okay, if you want high-end event that has a lot of add-ons and you have nice things into the event, you want high-class this, you want so much, of course you're going to spend more, okay? But if you then don't add on so many things, then price also does become a little bit low. So meaning the effect of your budget sometimes does determine how much price you're going to be paying, you know? And another example is, you know, on incentive trips. Sometimes suppliers ask you, how much budget do you have? It depends really. I can give you first class, you know, or flight business, but you also fly economy. So that's also another thing. Budget does play a big role in sometimes having to define how much price you're willing to pay. The other point is price is key. It is also industry specific. All right. If I'm looking at procuring services for engineering industry, price there, honestly speaking, is not the first price. The product must work. This thing must function. The specification is literally scored the highest. Okay, so then price will be a determining factor towards making a successful supplier or a bidder, you know, to really be awarded the bid or the quote. But in engineering, can you imagine driving a car and tomorrow doesn't work? Or the entire Mercedes-Benz have to recall their cars because someone in procurement decided to purchase a non-functional engine. I mean, can you imagine the cost of rework? Okay, so this is where then price can really be a challenge, where now you are going for such a low cost items that it will cost you even more to do rework than you should have just done the right thing from the beginning. So a lot more on the steel engineering industries. Price really, it does matter, but it does not rock the boat. My opinion is procurement is not all about finding the cheapest supplier. That is why we go through the entire end-to-end tender process. You define the requirements, you classify your commodity, it depends what the commodity requires, and you do your analysis, then only you go out on tender, then evaluate the bids. And it's a combination of, you know, I need the service, I need the after sale, I need, you know, the solution to do that. What other alternatives do you offer? You know, and then there's this BEE, there's health and safety, there's value added services, and there's price. If then price, it's very important, even if I need all these other things, but I don't want to pay a premium price, then this is where you put your highest weighting on your pricing when you are evaluating bids, so that whoever it is that quoted the lowest can then be ranked the highest. In that way, you are making better procurement decisions. And for me, I think that this myth is really plausible. It's neither here nor there. It also depends on a lot of these variables and these factors I mentioned today. So it's quite important, guys, that whenever you procure properly. That is why it's called procurement, because it's not spot buying. We're not just going to the tuck shop and buy. You're not just going to a retail store and just purchase. No, honey. We are doing a full-on sourcing process, which should entail all these other factors. Okay, so that's it from me. Let me know what you think of this conversation. It is quite an intriguing conversation. Procurement is not all about finding the cheapest supplier, although it is a variable to that. Thank you so much, guys. Have a beautiful week. Until we chat again soon.